fantastic teams that are going to be facing off against each other. It's Cloud9, the runners-up from Orlando, facing off against Team WaR, a team that kind of felt like, I mean, at one point they were called the leftovers, but all brought together and one unified mission. That's Carnage. That's WaR. And I'm excited to see this team square off against C9 today.
Yeah, it's actually terrifying to play against those rosters that like you said, make those teams with the top talents that are available and then rise to the top at the very end of the year.
Exactly. And I think that if WaR catch fire at this event, what an event it would be for them. So C9 need to be on their heels. But here's our series layout. Of course, we're going to be going to Streets King of the Hill, then recharge for some Slayer action. Then we're going to play some Oddball on Live Fire. And then if necessary, we'll go to Capture the Flag on Aquarius and then Catalyst Slayer to close things out. Would not be shocked with WaR if we end up going to a Game 5. But I did have an opportunity to talk to Stellar right before the game started. I asked him how he was feeling about the team. And he was very upfront in saying that they've been performing better online than they usually have because they're all not in the same location, so it makes it a lot more challenging for them to be able to get quality practice. But they're still winning those games. And he said that Bound in this lineup has been impactful. He had a lot of positive things to say about Bound.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. Bound really got put in one of the most, I would say, rewarding opportunities to join a squad like Cloud9, but also the biggest shoes to fill in the feat of Renegade, trying to fulfill what he has been doing that roster at the beginning of this year with the wins that they got and the performances he was putting on. And look at that Bound coming right out the gate, hitting those nice 4 on Rami and scaring those rockets.
Yeah, already as we start the matchup, it is impact felt for Cloud9, and they're already going to be able to get at least some control going over here. WaR's going to be in the blue, Cloud9 in the red. I know everyone's used to seeing C9 in blue just because they're blue, so trust me, it's a little bit of a struggle for me as well. But that being said, though, so far so good for Team WaR. They get a full clear, 4 down on C9. That's going to be significant progress gained.
Yeah, and Hysteria was the only one left on the map for a moment. Grabbing a little time in the hill, grabbing that Bulldog, fighting off Eco, gets the kill, and staying alive here on the rails until he was eventually taken out by Penguin.
Yeah, that was always going to be a hard fight there as well because of the angle that he was fighting in, right? That overlook position, you can't clearly get a shot from low side if you see the head of your opponent. So I think that was always going to be a rough one for him to hold. But with the Bulldog and just so much work being done by WaR, they made the work happen. They got as much as they possibly could out of this. And now it's really just going to boil down to C9, which, by the way, I misspoke. C9 is in the blue. Case in point, doesn't really matter. What matters here is that C9 has control.
Yeah, C9 is off to a strong start, especially this very first hill. It sets really the tone. I mean, B Street Hill, you really kind of figure out from both these squads, like how are you able to break any sort of setups? What are you doing right off the break? How are you getting the control of that first rocket or Bulldog? How are you prioritizing those weapons? And Cloud9, clearly the favorites, even though we saw at the very end of that first hill, or sorry, in the middle of that hill where Hysteria was getting those initial kills, getting that time on the board.
Oh, look at Bound. He's actually got a few weakened players here. You got to give credit where credit is due to WaR to just try and hold back in the base. But the problem is you're just all stuffed away in Ivy, so there's really nowhere that you can move. There's no impact that can be felt. And when you have Stellar outside of the map like this, fragging out by steps, just freely looking at the front door, it's going to make it a little bit more challenging for WaR to try and hold this down because it does feel like C9 have the read on how they want to try and tackle this. But credit goes to WaR here for holding it down despite the slaves we were seeing from C9.
Look at those kills from Bound as he got that last grenade over Commando. Bound has as many kills as the rest of his teammates combined with an 8-3 performance. So if there's any questions if he can fill those Renegade shoes, looks like they fit quite well.
Yeah, indeed he can. And that is going to be 1 point now for Cloud9. And we do apologize, obviously, as we jump to different observers, the color is going to change. But C9 is going to be on the left side of your screen. Team WaR will be on the right side of your screen. So maybe you could go ahead and use that for the brain here. But Eco, though, is going to have the line of sight on the player located bottom A as the push is just going to come through here from driveway now. And I really do like that they are trying to, move as a unit into this area here. But oh my goodness, Eco caught Hysteria with his pants down. Hysteria thought maybe for a minute he could have gotten that back whack.
Also, even that play from Eco, whether he was going through call out, whether he heard noise from that player or whether he was just predicting somebody jumping up there. pre-firing that Sentinel beam, these players, they're able to get those first shots just because of those predictions and those small little details, which give them those slight advantages.
Yeah, and Cloud9 with control right now of Tram, and that is going to be the second point on board for C9, as they are putting in the work here. We have to see, though, how can WaR respond? And, you know, King of the Hill on streets is always going to be a little bit challenging, because just when you think that, like, you have time to be able to push that hill, the time fades away so fast, especially as you get toward the tail end of holding one of those hills down. And you have to think about how you're going to reposition afterwards.
Yeah, and Bound, I like this play. Does not jump on the hill right away. Knows that they have to get control of A-Tower and Cafe. And gets right behind enemy lines here. Gets almost the pick, but Tony to turn from the tower. Gets his teammates back, and they're able to secure that flank and Bound.
Yeah, and I think that was just a great read, right? They had the read, they had the idea.
One thing I want to quick highlight, that grenade from Hysteria was sick, actually.
Yeah.
Bouncing out in the middle of that ramp, and then just perfectly exploding for anyone just diving around that ledge.
And that's the sneaky part, that you can try and push around to give yourself a little bit of coverage, right? And these players have played this and practiced and rehearsed this so many freaking times that at this point it's kind of like second nature to them. What's also second nature has been Cloud9 dominating, because so far it has been so good for the squad, as Tony Two Turn's going to put his body on the line here inside of the hill. He knows exactly where this player is going to be located and does have a teammate to help him out. Got to give credit to Tony there. He actually backed away and focused on the player ATM because he knew he had a teammate on the flank.
That is wise. You gotta fight together and back down together. You need to always be with your team. Yes, everyone's gathered here over towards the hill, but you need to know those times that stepping out. And here is that time. WaR decided that they need to push up towards ATM. They get a couple kills on Bound and Penguin, but the damage has been done. Envoy, the last one alive. You know Cloud9 are going to clear him out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that one of the major things that we're seeing here, that was a gorgeous nade from Envoy. And really to keep that one going, right, that drive going for that hill, because they made significant amount of time on there. But I think it just goes to show you that when Cloud9 know that they have that opportunity to make the push, they are going to do it. They'll call out those one-shot players right away and put that attention and focus so that that player can't be a problem later on in a fight.
Just making sure they clear all those angles, but here is the last opportunity for WaR here. They need to break the set from Cloud9, otherwise you're going to be seeing a third hill going in their favor, and it's looking all right. Ooh. It's about even at this moment, but Stellar's going to scrap up these last few moments. Can it be quick enough? No, he hides in PD, and Tony Two Turn has to find out where to pay attention to. Doesn't know if he has to fight over a cafe or go towards PD. It's so tough with Cloud9 being perfectly distributed across the field.
Yeah, and that is going to be 3 points on the board for Cloud9. What a strong start here for the runner-ups from Orlando, and WaR knew that this was going to be a tall task to begin with, but every single player from Cloud9 is slaying their hearts out right now, which is going to be very problematic for WaR to have to deal with. Bound is also just having a field day out there. 16 frags currently. He's helping out a fair amount too.
Look at this pressure. WaR are not able to really push out PD. Hysteria has gotten this pressure from the moment he spawned. About 10 to 15 seconds later, he's actually able to move out of PD, but that just shows the amount of control that Cloud9 have on the map. They're already 75% done with this hill, and before we know it, this game's gonna be over.
Yeah, this could very well be it. The last few moments, no one from WaR can push it, and you know what? GG go next for WaR, but Cloud9 dominate 4-0 to start things off, and I think that conversation I had with Stellar is definitely playing out on the scoreboard there, because what we were seeing from C9 was absolute domination from start to finish.
Yeah, that was just clinical. And also, we didn't even see it in a position where they heavily outslayed. It wasn't like they're outslaying 2 or 3 to 1 to get this 4-0 scoreline. They were getting their slays. They were being precise. They were being so quick getting in that hill and just making it very fast. So that was just really well done by Cloud9, showcasing that they don't need to heavily outslay to still have an impressive 4-0 scoreline.
Yeah, it was clear from the get-go that, you know, it wasn't even just like the outslaying, but it was the quality of the kills that were coming in for C9, right? Every single time WaR had a moment to breathe, that player was very weak, and all those players from C9, okay, we know exactly where he is. Boom, we're just going to beam him and take him out. The comms for Cloud9 have been outstanding. It's very clear that it has been, because every single time that a player thinks that they're going to get away with something, someone from C9 is right there to answer back.
Yeah, it felt like Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it, is every time someone's weak from WaR, just they had an answer on how to finish that kill, whether that player poked out just slightly. I even remember from the beginning of the match when we saw Hysteria getting picked off over at B rails. It's like, that's a tough angle to get a finish off on somebody. And yet somebody was jumping up from either B stairs or from Neons to get that final angle and kill him. So just great overall macro awareness from the Cloud9 roster.
Yeah, but now we look forward to our next game here, and for WaR, they're going to have to start to create some carnage here. We're going into Slayer. There is very clearly an opportunity for WaR to try and pull away, sneak away that victory. We know that they can play aggressive and play to get in your face or get in the face of their opponent. The problem is that C9 responds to that so incredibly well, and it feels like from Orlando, they've simply just gotten better.
Yeah, it is interesting. Just think of like this roster that was at the very top at the beginning of the season, still somehow improving and getting better here at the end of the season.
And you know what? You can say what you want about the grand finals for C9 and how it wasn't the performance that they wanted. It wasn't the result, the most definitely, that they wanted. But to have gotten there with a teammate that they haven't fully acclimated into their system, and now you're starting to see that system play out, because Cloud9 is the type of team similar to Sentinels that can start a little slow. You know, it's become a trend of theirs throughout the year. Now it feels like C9's coming out of the gate swinging. Recharge Slayer, an opportunity for a player like Stellar to get the shock rifle, put that to good use. That's going to be very tough for WaR to shut down.
It is going to be difficult indeed, but generally when you're looking at, let's say, a lower seed team against a Juggernaut, Slayers is where they're going to have the better chance. So this is going to be a good opportunity for WaR to maybe come out the gates, get a few slays, get a little bit of a lead, and try to bring back their team in this series. It's going to be tough. Cloud9 is one of the best.
Yeah, indeed they are. And for WaR, you know, on the flip side to that as well, like players that I'm definitely going to be putting a spotlight on is I'm turning to the veteran here. I'm turning to Hysteria, because he's a guy who's been in this situation time and time again for many years. One of the legacy players, has been competing since H3. This dude has been around the block for a while now. Also competed at a high level in Fortnite as well. And say what you want, but like, you really have to keep the mental strong in that game because of all the variables that can come into play. And Hysteria has seen this before. He's seen the strength that these players have. But as a veteran yourself who has played in these high stakes scenarios, like, what should Hysteria be telling the squad right now? Because you got some young players on that team.
I think when you're going against a top roster like Cloud9, it can be enticing to try to play different, saying, all right, I need to go up. I need to like try to do all these impressive, super crazy things. It's like, no, it's little by little. Like, you need to be playing the same way that you're practicing. Sure, like, you can take small little risks here and there, but if you try to change up your play style wildly, your teammates are just going to be in desync with you. They are not going to be on the same page. They're going to see you challenging at a time where you normally back down, or backing down at a time that you'd normally be challenging. And to try to get everyone on the same page, you have to go with what has worked, how you're playing consistently. And so whether that's a more aggressive play style, more passive play style, they need to stick to that. And when I've watched WaR, obviously at Orlando, I think aggressive play style is their game.
Yeah, it is their game. And where it does become a challenge, though, is that they are going to be dealing with a Cloud9 team that has the ability to play aggressive when they need, peel back when they need, control the map when they need. There's so many layers to this team. They're like a vicious and delicious onion, you know? They're like a red onion combined with a white onion.
I mean, they have all those different like onion flavors now these days, like all those different fruits.
They're a French onion.
They're French onions?
I don't know. I don't think French. You know what? I don't want to say anything because I've eaten many French onion potato chips in the past, but I don't know if French onion's an actual thing. Scallion? Anyway, point is they have layers, and these layers we have seen throughout the year for Cloud9. But we're going to be into the thick of things. The action continues here with Game 2. It's going to be Slayer Recharge, and out of the break already, Cloud9 starts off with presence as they get 3 kills right out of the gate.
And I haven't seen really that start from a team yet, where they come flying out kind of through bridge like that to challenge double stacks. Most people are like timidly poking out, but we saw Eco literally flying all the way across there, and they clearly put this prioritization on getting this double team on someone either on C plat or bottom control, and then being in position to grab that camo.
What is really awesome is how players opt to breakout, at the beginning of the game, right? What is the breakout strategy? Where are you going to look to prioritize so you can get the most impact on the map early on, right? Because you want to play for those power items. That's going to be something we're going to be keeping tabs on here, because on the streets, you only really have to worry about the rocket launcher, but here you have to worry about the shock rifle. You have to worry about the camo as well, and all of that can play such a big role here. But so far, though, got to give credit to Team WaR. They're standing toe-to-toe with them, but Stellar's BR is hot right now, but good help from WaR to try and back up their teammate.
Yeah, we are definitely an even game. Look at this, just 3 kills separating now. Cloud9 between Team WaR. We're going to see when this game actually slows down, though, because right from the get-go, I talked about how aggressive the push was from Cloud9, and we have yet to see ace or a stalemate scenario. For the first time, we're actually seeing teams say, all right, we're not all shooting across the map, we're not charging, and teams have drawn their line in the sand and said, we call gold and turbine, you guys get hydro and control.
But I also think, too, that this plays beautifully into the hands of Cloud9, because if anything, they have put WaR in such a position already that WaR has no choice but to slow things down, because if they did, they'll just continue to feed kills to C9. So if anything, if I'm a Cloud9 fan right now, I'm feeling quite satisfied with this situation, given that WaR had no choice but to just slow it up.
Yeah, generally, the more practiced teams and other top teams are going to be stronger during those slowdown times. They know how to read the situations better. They know how to do different pushes to break neutral setups, whereas a squad like WaR is actually preferring it to be a little more chaotic, a little more free-for-all-ish, so that they can just rely more on their individual skill and try to take out the Cloud9 members during chaotic moments.
Yeah, and I saw that there was a camo picked up by Envor, but that player deleted right away. So even though you keep that item out of the hands of your opponent, it did lead to a massive gain in kills for Cloud9. They ended up feeding quite a few over toward Hydro that cost them dearly here. And this is going to put WaR in a position again where they just kind of have to play their positions and slow down. But C9 know, hey, we can push this. We can get aggressive if we want, because we know that we have that slight upper hand. Credit though where credit is due to WaR, because they've actually backed away from this one. And if anything, they started to get some more flanks going, which I do like that, Dave.
Yeah, they've been able to find their ways behind enemy lines, like Bound right there, pushing through pipes. There's just all these times where he took it so calculated, laying down the shots over towards bat ledge or laying down shots over towards top elevator, and always realizing that there's a potential threat in the pipes, but during that time, not just getting tunnel vision on the closest threat.
Bound needs to be careful, because there is going to be a player popping up right behind him here. And in fact, he actually has 3 players from WaR in front of him, but he is going to have some help. Pushing in with the shock rifle, though, is going to lead to 2 kills. Penguin and Bound are going to go down. And again, WaR is not going to be out of this one. They're down by a decent amount, but it's the mid game right now, and they can try to weasel away a few more kills. Bring this lead up. Maybe, don't give up too many kills in this and get to 20. But Cloud9 is going to make it so challenging for them. And as it stands right now, it really does feel like WaR, they're just looking to figure out how do they get the most value out of these pushes. Because so far, every push that they've had has kind of gotten shut down.
Yeah, how and where are they going to push? I mean, you look at someone like Tony laying down shots over bottom control and now just charging the pipes and getting shot from the side. It's not as clean as a Cloud9 push. You see Cloud9 really laying down shots, really having an idea of where they're pushing into next, whereas here it just feels like they're trying to find the path of least resistance and just not sure where to go and just diving in a direction.
And now WaR are going to be stuck in the back of Hydro here. His Bound looks to push up. That's going to be a big benefit to him, but just the presence that Stellar has, he almost lined up a double with no problem. Rami, though, with a good shutdown. They are going to be down by 10, and this lead just continues to grow for Cloud9. Every single time I look at the scoreboard, it's 8, then it's a 9-kill lead, then it's a 10-kill lead. And you're at the midpoint of the game here, Dave. You have to turn it up. Otherwise, C9 will run away with this.
Stellar just clutching it out there in that fight over at the trippy corner. And it was looking real good for Rami there. I was like, all right, great use of the sandbox. Good job using that weapon, but clearly not being able to finish off the kill.
Yeah, Disruptor is a very underrated weapon, and I'm glad we're seeing more players use it, because you can do a lot of cool things with it. Also, as you shoot it, you'll have that electricity effect to your opponent as well. So if they're standing near someone, it kind of does the same thing that a dynamo does, except it's just a little bit weaker. So that kind of gives you an opportunity to be able to turn a fight maybe of 2 players clumping up in your favor. But the thing is that I do like how Cloud9 are continuing to patrol around this area, not allowing WaR to be able to use the sandbox effectively, and also the positioning. It's just superior.
Yeah, just all around, like you said, just they are more often than not getting 2v1s, whereas WaR feels like you're able to catch them scrambling around the map.
Yeah, WaR just tucked away in the back of the base. Rami's going to be isolated and shot down, so that means he's running into 2 players, and you can see him just falling in the kill feed there off screen as Eco gets himself a camo and a shock rifle. Hello! And he looked for another one. That's going to be a nice stick from Envor. Could be a brief moment of respite, but with this 13 kill lead for C9, it is going to be so challenging for them to come back to this. I mean, Cloud9 need to effectively throw in order for them to lose this game at this point.
I mean, some of the matches we saw yesterday, we thought they were game overs, but we also weren't seeing Cloud9 in that position, so I also expect this one to go in the favor of Cloud9 for a 2-0 victory. We'll see how they close this one out. Stellar put some pressure on over at control.
Now, maybe you can play to the weakness of C9 in their aggression. I don't mean like actual weakness, but yeah, they're getting a little reckless. And we kind of saw that happen with Ascend yesterday, where, you know, Respectful even said on the couch, he was like, we definitely thought that we had the win, so that's why we played kind of foolishly, and then we gave that one up. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen here against Cloud9, but it's just so hard to stop their pushes when they're so effective. They'll send one guy in to create space, but there's another one right behind him, and by the time the game is over, that person has caused so much problems. And look at this here. I mean, Stellar has applied so much damage that has allowed his team to get that final kill, and that was a dominating game from C9 to start things off here at Worlds.
Looking good if you're a Cloud9 fan. 2-0 in their first match here in the pool, and you expect nothing but first from Cloud9 here in pools today, but it's not given. It is absolutely not given, especially here at the biggest tournament of the year.
And everyone's been putting in the work, right? But I think that just goes to show like how much everyone has leveled up since Orlando, which was only, you know, 3 short weeks, right? So much can change in that time frame, but I do feel like for WaR, they have to start to realize that one guy who's going to try and create space, create the opportunity, a guy like Stellar, they have to shut him down as soon as possible. They have to make him not as impactful, and Bound's been doing it as well. It's so hard. I'm trying to find like solutions for WaR, but dude, they just, C9, they're one mind. They're a hive mind. You know, they're the Borg from Star Trek. That's the robots, you know, and they just push, and they push as a unit. It's wild stuff. But now we're going to Oddball. There is an opportunity still for WaR to try and sneak one away here. We've seen that happen before.
Yeah, we have, but I mean, it is looking dismal for WaR at the moment. I mean, not the start you want to have, but at some point throughout this pool play, you have to play Cloud9, and it's going to be how close are you making your games? Are you able to take games off them? Are you able to pull off the big upset? And how are you going to bounce back from any time you do have a loss in pool play to make sure you're looking good for the rest of the day?
Exactly. And for WaR here, maybe they could pull some hope from, you know, like a Jailing Space Station game that we saw yesterday when Space Station were down 2-0, and you thought, oh man, this is going to be it. It's going to be an easy clap here. Maybe they could find that spark that gives them that next level that they're so desperately looking for. And Oddball, it depends on how this setup is going to go, right? Like, what does WaR look to prioritize? Do they try and prioritize keeping that ball moving, or are they going to look to maybe play a little bit more of a kind of like a grab and hold type of game?
Yeah, I mean, when we see it on live fire, it's definitely a mix. We do see a couple different setups when you bring it over to like green or tower that you go for more of a play ball situation. But we've also seen someone like Cloud9 and Optic specifically doing a lot of great rotations on this map, especially from garage side as they fake over towards, run it towards tower or bring it over towards green. But ultimately, it's a mix of both on live fire specifically. Yeah, you have the options. I'm really interested to see what WaR's strategy is going to be here. This opening gambit right at the start of the matchup, it's going to be important. You want to keep that sniper rifle away from the hands of C9. You do not let them have it, but when you get possession of it, just try your hardest to just pull that back. Right, like pull that back but get value from that weapon. Get value from the weapons you pick up, the heat wave and so on and so forth. Like that was something I saw yesterday that happened a lot, where a lot of teams, you know, they would get a power weapon and they're just kind of like shooting shots willy-nilly, like looking to hit targets. I know it's hard, obviously, at this level,
but I would really, really hope to see WaR just try and rip away these priority weapons from C9.
We will see if they can do that, because that's going to be pretty much their only shot to take this game away. You can't expect to win it when Cloud9 have all the toys and all the tools at their disposal.
Nope.
So let's see what Tony Two-Turn and the WaR squad are going to do here, because if I recall, when I was watching Tony Two-Turn go off, it was on live fire.
That's
true.
true.
Series in Orlando. I forget the exact squad he's going against, but he was dropping most least.
Yeah, he was crushing it. So let's see. And already out of the break, we got Rami with high impact, just stopping Stellar in his tracks now. What is the response going to be from C9? And they immediately get that overshield, but shut down instantly. But even with all that, though, Penguin manages to get that oddball and bring it all the way over toward green. But I do like that they did exactly what I wanted them to do. Get the power items, get the sniper rifle, get that overshield, keep it away from your opponent, and then you'll be able to get that ball on the reset.
And Penguin getting the play ball. So even though their team has been heavily outslayed off the start of this game, I mean, Cloud9 only have 3 kills. They have 9 deaths. They're getting outslayed 3-1, but they're still winning the objective.
Yeah, they are for the time being.
For the time being.
It is a fragile lead, and they do have the ball, and Tony Two-Turn and Hysteria popping off on the other side of the map here. And this is what I was wondering what we were going to get, right? Out of the break, we get the sniper rifle, bring that ball over to the tower side. It's a great area to hold. I like this play from WaR. They simply just need to hit those shots.
Still looking strong. 2 players down here. Rami trying to hold down the tower. Wasting a little ammo just to be safe. Saving 1 bullet for a last shot. Misses it, but the damage has been done. Great position here for Team WaR as they outslay Cloud9, get a lot of time on the board, and give themselves some hope in this game and series.
Yeah, they got fragged out over toward the tower, and then they brought that ball down like to the mud behind tower, because that's just going to be an easier position for them to play ball from there. But it is going to make it a little bit easier for WaR to try and take space, because they could go up top if they wanted to. Problem is, you have Stellar, who's just all up in their business, and it's going to have to force WaR to just fight and not worry about this ball player, and then the rotation comes through, because they know that the push is going to be coming from OS side.
Look at that, rotating the ball on over. We have still Cloud9 winning with a strong lead, 2-1. And look at Bound's kills. Bound is 0 kills, 4 assists, 6 deaths. Still fully objective minded. That takes a lot of fortitude for somebody to say, hey, I don't have any kills yet. Maybe someone else take this ball and I can like get a kill on the board and start this game.
Yeah, right. You would like that to happen. Doesn't happen for me in matchmaking games, so everyone's allergic to the ball. No one ever wants to pick it up, though. Here's the thing, right? Yes, it is nice to see Bound still have impact and be effective, but you need a player like Bound to start to frag. When Bound gets hot, that is when Cloud9 gets their win condition here, because then they're going to have 3 players that are just all up in the business of WaR. Everyone from WaR is fragging at this point in time. But also, kind of to your point, you can also just kind of let Bound just do his thing and just hold the objective as much as possible, and that was nuts.
That
what
was
a sequence.
Such a sick repulse, getting the ball thrown back at him to get his first kill on the board. So Cloud9 still overall heavily outslayed, but heavily winning in the objective category. That's all that matters in this game.
Very true. The objective is the most important thing. Bound playing his life here. No,
just barely misses it.
Don't like that, Nate.
Set up so sick. Still gets so much damage done, even though he missed that first grenade.
Yeah, it's so impressive to see Cloud9, despite them getting outslayed here, still holding on to the lead. So let's jump into a listen-in with Cloud9 and hear the comms.
2 green, 2 green, 2 green. Pillars and nest. Pillars and nest.
Looking at Obi.
Pillars are gonna go bottom mid, I think.
5 seconds. C-box, C-box. Box, watch out, on board.
I'm gonna try to get this Obi.
Fuck that guy, fuck that guy.
Got one, your nest,
Good job.
nest in the cuts.
Dummy door weak, dummy door 2 shot.
Nest in the door, nest in the door.
Look at pillar door.
He's tired.
He's weak, back to you, weak back to you, weak back to you. And a guy bottom mid somewhere.
Push up to you, okay.
Tony was bottom, he could be pillars. Screen's weak, screen's 1 shot. Do that.
Big door probably.
I got ball. That C-box.
Look in C-box, top mid, look top mid. 2.
Absolute fucking loot.
Top tower, weak, on board. I'm getting repulse, I'm getting heat wave.
Yeah, I'm gonna come rat.
One's on nest, top mid.
Do that. 3. Go to B.
Oh, higher box. He's really weak on C-boxes.
I know where it is.
I'm bringing this to B.
Sitting C-boxes and that's what you're going top mid
You guys
now.
good? Okay.
2 top mid to top house right now.
One's
One guy nest,
one's
nest.
passing me. He's on you now, one shot.
What, 2 weeks on mid, 2 weeks on mid.
I had to play it.
Man, that play from Bound I thought was really fun because he grabs the repulsor and then it causes just a disruption in mid that, you know, just slows down the WaR push as much as possible. And the amount of value that C9 got off of that hold is just absurd.
Yeah, this is like a scoreline that we're seeing that normally happens when you're outslaying heavily. Cloud9 still getting outslayed and put on this many points on the board. That was so incredible. I mean, what was it, 130-ish?
Yeah.
130-ish, and that was with Cloud9 getting outslayed. It's just a testament to how strong the rotations were.
Yeah, it really was. Like, it goes to show you that you, even though you're crushing it in the kill feed, if you're not getting the objective, it doesn't matter what you're doing.
And the difference there from Cloud9 as you went through those comms is they are all focused on the same area. They're saying, hey, we're going to push this over towards B. We're rotating the ball towards here. They're always clearing that path for the ball carrier to rotate on through. So even if you're WaR and getting kills elsewhere on the map, it doesn't matter. The ball has now moved to a new location. If they killed your one member over towards B side or wherever the ball is rotating, you now have to go chase for it again, and you have whole new spawners you have to deal with and a whole new setup you have to deal with.
Yeah, it's just every option available to C9 here, and also every option as far as power items go. They got the sniper, they got themselves the overshield, they also have the objective. I really do love the way that they even obtained all of this to begin with, because WaR were stacked on the overshield, and then just when you think this is going to be an obtainable item for them, you end up getting hit with every single nade that Cloud9 had at their disposal to force that player from that position, and that's leading to this massive gain here. And Bound with the rotation, he knows he's getting pressured from on high, but he has the sniper rifle. Actually, he dumped the sniper rifle off, so it doesn't even matter now. He's kind of just chilling. He could just vibe for a little bit.
He is chilling indeed, and look at those smart rotations with it too. Just, he's so quick. He knows how he can escape from someone chasing him on tower. He has help, someone shooting that player in the back, and throughout the entire time when someone normally panic and maybe trade out a kill there or play ball it, Bound has now put on 42 points on the board.
Just goes to show, you may not be slaying the best, but you can still be effective for your team. And that is exactly what Bound is doing here. Oh, never mind. The sniper was still in action.
Yeah, he had the sniper that whole time. It actually is a little surprising that he never found someone to trade it with.
Yeah.
Either giving up that sniper or giving up the ball. So I'm not sure if I fully actually agree with that on the Cloud9 end. Instead, being like, hey, when you get a chance, take this from me. Doesn't have to be immediate, but take this ball so I can do a little more work and damage on the map.
We'll see if that comes back to bite them here, as it is finally going to be WaR obtaining the overshield. Tony Two-Turn, though, trying to value his life here. He's going to get pressure from on high from Stellar. They do manage to get the sniper rifle, though, and bring this one away. Envor getting pressured from behind. He also has someone coming up through Sneaky here. Good sneak around the corner, an effective nade, but Stellar, man, this guy is disgusting. That is going to be a double kill, though, for Rami, and although that was an ambitious shot with the assault rifle, you got to give credit where credit is due. That WaR player is needed to abandon position there, and Bound just goes right for him.
Look how comfortable Bound is in those vertical fights. Having a strong vertical sensitivity, not afraid to hunt down that fight and just trade out that melee real quick, realizing he has the damage advantage. And what a sick pick. Just knowing someone's so weak, getting that damage, getting that kill, backing away. And look at this. You have all the Cloud9 members, or sorry, all these WaR members fighting over towards the garage. And what's going on throughout this whole time? You have Penguin rotating it anywhere he wants. If his teammates didn't win the fight in garage, he's run the other way. His teammates won the fight in garage, and now he's already moved on to the next spot. He said, all right, we did the garage rotation. I'm ready to go towards tower or back. He's met some resistance. I don't know how Penguin's going to get out this without a kill. And Penguin fights it towards dummies and takes out Hysteria.
He still gets it. Okay, what I'm seeing here is that Cloud9 is playing 5D chess and Team WaR is playing checkers. It is unfortunate to say that. And the reason why I say that is because WaR has been focused on getting objectives, getting things like the power items, getting map positioning. Meanwhile, Cloud9 has literally been focused on the objective this entire time and have been pushing that forward. And they have been forcing WaR to have to just take these fights time and time again for areas, and it gets them no value.
From anyone at home trying to learn how to play objective game, bookmark this match right here. Cloud9, one of the best teams in the world, has some of the strongest lane power in the world, getting outslayed, but absolutely out-rotating and outplaying the objective this entire time. They aren't just going for slay after slay after slay, which is something they could do against WaR. They could outslay them, get them all 4 down.
Yeah.
But they are playing perfect objective efficiency, rotating through. Look at this coverage from Penguin. Covering at the key door, gets the trade, and during the trade time, guess who's still putting time on the board? Cloud9.
Oh, but Bounty's got to get away from it, and he does, and that is going to be Cloud9. A dominating start to the Halo World Championship. 3-0 over Team WaR, and try as they might, WaR simply did not have the battle plan, and Cloud9 are riding high. Very well done.
That is scary if you're a Cloud9 opponent. You're trying to look at them later in the pools or later potentially in the bracket, and you go and see their objective efficacy in that round and realize, oh my god, if they're able to do that when they're getting outslayed, what are Cloud9 going to do when they're going even in slays? When they're outslaying your team and doing that with the objective, it's going to be terrifying.
Yeah, Cloud9 look very, very scary. And look, WaR, I think WaR knew this going into it. It was always going to be a tough game. I caught Rami for a brief moment, and he knew. He was just like, C9, they're good. And I was like, yeah, I know. They're a very good team. But the way that C9 played, it's just lights out. It's so impressive to just be able to be that objectively efficient despite you getting outslayed. It's nuts. They were literally putting WaR like, hey, WaR, you want to fight for nest control? You want to fight for tower control? Great, we'll just take the ball over here, and we'll just go ahead and collect like 50 points. That was just beautiful to watch.
Yeah, it was just perfect objective performance. And I would say some of these top teams, like when you're like the #1 in your pool and you're playing against, arguably like #3 or the play-in team from your pool, you really can just opt to just overpower them if you want to. You can just say, all right, let's just play the safe. Let's outslay them so hard and then grab the objective when it's comfortable. But right there, even at a time when Bound had 0 kills for the first minute or so, they were focused on the OBJ. They are laser focused on playing the game the right way.
Yeah, this looks like a Cloud9 team that's fighting for a world championship. Look at this series layout. 4-0 at the start. A dominating start for C9. Then we go to Recharge Slayer, hoping to see that WaR can maybe pull something together. They never had a chance to do so because C9 had the lead the entire time. And then, as we had talked about before, that oddball live fire game, the objective efficiency of C9 to just control the game despite them getting outslayed at the outset was just so damn impressive. I really, Cloud9 looks scary. They look very scary. And if this is like what we're going to be getting from them throughout the tournament, man, like, whoo boy.
Yeah, no, it's going to be Cloud9 without a doubt one of the top contenders to win at this event. And what an opportunity to do it from the beginning of this year and close out the end of the year.
Yeah.